Sharon is sometimes pointed to as a good example of bi-representation. However, his crush on Yukuto is caused by the reaction of Yukuto's magic to his. Does this mean he's actually straight? Good question. The first thing to remember is that Sharon isn't the only person with a magic crush on someone of the same gender. Sakura was also magically attracted to Mizuki. In fact, one of the authors said this about Sakura, so she's arguably more bi than Sharon at this point. Whether you consider this magic attraction legitimate attraction is up to you, but I do, even if Sharon and Sakura aren't properly in love with them. However, does anyone in this show have any gender preferences at all? Toya is dating Yukuto, but in the past was dating Mizuki. To clarify, I am ignoring an elephant in the room to avoid tripling the length and complexity of the video, and making things more uncomfortable than they need to be. Yukuto is only ever shown being attracted to Toya, however the greatest seer on the planet, Chloe Reed, predicted that he would like Sakura back, so that's something. Then we have the people who only ever like one person, Mei-ling, Tomio, Sakura's parents, Tomio's mum, Rika Terada, Chiharu Yamazaki, Nakaru, etc. Tomio's mum was married and got divorced off screen though. I'm assuming this was pretty loveless. That's all well and good, but there is actually a token straight character, Mizuki. She's actually the one person in this show who dates someone, breaks up with them, and then dates someone else. Along with that, they are both of the same gender. Does this mean straight people are real? Unclear. Along with that, both Toya and Ariel are magic, and further still would have a similar magic. When Yue took Toya's magic, he said it was similar to Sakura and Chloe's, which makes sense as Sakura is the successor to Chloe, and also the daughter of one half of his spirit. Ariel's magic is of course identical to Chloe's. It's worth noting that people with magic generally fall for other people with magic, with them canonically having specific kinds of magic they're attracted to. The only exception I can think of is Sakura's parents, where her mum is said to have some power and can also clearly still hang out in the material world instead of going to heaven, but her dad has no magic. Though he is the reincarnation of Chloe Reed, so that might play a role. My interpretation of this is that while orientation doesn't exist in the world and everyone is bi by default, the authors wanted a metaphor for orientation and how attraction works in the real world. In reality, people are drawn to arbitrary traits about people. In reality, it's not magical abilities, but rather gender, height, face shape, etc. Sharon and Sakura go all floaty when they see Yukuto and Mizuki, despite not being properly in love with them. They may like them, but the fluffy feeling comes as a result of their brain's unconscious reactions to the physical characteristics possessed by the people they're looking at. It doesn't necessarily mean they would be a good romantic fit, of course, but it does feel nice. Hey, wait a minute, that sounds like how attraction works. It's worth noting that this is not the only way in which love and attraction don't seem to work the same way in Captor Sakura as they do in real life. There's the issue I'm avoiding, of course, but there's also the fact that people in Captor Sakura are much kinder. Aside from Mei-ling and Tomio's mum, who learns to be better over the course of the story, they always put the happiness of their crush first, even at their own expense. Sometimes it's hard, like after Sakura got rejected by Yukuto, but they do it. They're always understanding of circumstances, and they don't tend to fall out of love except for Mizuki, who broke up with Toya. There's also less random hugging and touching and whatever. Nobody even kisses in the entire series. Yes, I know it's for children, but I assumed they would have been allowed a kiss and chose to not include any. Perhaps it doesn't fit with the rather idyllic presentation of love presented in Universe. The closest thing present is people swearing to be in love forever and giving each other symbols of that. I mean, Sakura's parents are married, and Terada gives Rika her wedding ring, but the kids kind of have a similar thing. They say if you give someone a handmade teddy bear and they name it after you, you'll be in love forever. If someone names a teddy bear after you unprompted after you handmade it for them, I can believe that in real life, to be honest. Exchanging symbols of mutual love. Wait, this is kid wedding rings, isn't it? Sakura and Sharon try to give Yukuto a bear before eventually giving them to each other. Chiharu gives Yamazaki a bear and the gesture flies over his head. Rika gives Terada a bear in exchange for the ring. The only kids who don't give anyone a bear are Tomio, who doesn't want Sakura to fall for her if it won't make her happy, Yamazaki, who receives one, and Ariel, but he is a special case because he has Chloe Reed's memories. He says he's not Chloe Reed many times over, but I don't think he's supposed to be a normal kid either. either. One thing worth noting is that Sharon is the only boy to give anyone a bear. I think he just doesn't know or care much for gender roles in relationships. He gives both Yukuto and Sakura chocolate on Valentine's Day, even though girls are supposed to give boys Valentine's Day chocolate in Japan. In part because he's never heard of the concept before, and in part because can you imagine him letting Sakura get away with one-upping him? This could be because he's not from Japan, but to keep doing it for years requires some level of ignorance. I mean, he never heard of Valentine's Day before and had to ask what it was despite it being practiced in Hong Kong at the time. He is also pushed into cross-dressing while acting in a play opposite Sakura at one point, but that wasn't voluntary. He did agree to do it to impress Yukuto though. Anyway, the point is that love in this show is somewhat different from reality. People fall in love and stay in love, and very consistently want exclusively what's best for their partner with no ill motivations. And they do so basically regardless of gender or whatever. So Sharon and Sakura may be attracted to people who are the same gender as them, but they exist in a world where orientation isn't really a concept for anyone. So in short, yes, and also long explanation. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing.